talking basketball. They're fucking dumb as shit. They don't know basketball, but they will make dumb ass jokes.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pod Don't Lie with Sam and Stav. We're back after taking a little week break. Didn't feel right to have our dumbass show on the air when so much was going on in the world. But we want to thank everybody for donating. Me and Sam raised $1,000. We donated $1,000. The show donated $1,000, and then we raised about $1,000 from the listeners. So thank you so much to everybody who donated. Nice. Our contributions went to the ACLU and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. So yeah, keep doing stuff, guys. Keep fighting, and thanks for sticking with us, even though we took the week off. But we're very happy. We're back, and we have a great guest. We're super excited to have him. Hilarious comedian, New York fixture. He's so great, guys. Jon Laster. Thanks for being on the show, Jon.
Oh man, thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be here, and didn't have to go anywhere. How about
that? And a former hoops player too, man. A college basketball point guard, a tall point guard.
6'4".
All right, there we go. Hell yeah, man.
But when you were coming up, that was legit. That's Jason Kidd right there.
Oh, absolutely.
You're tall enough.
Yeah. When I was coming up, 6'4" was good at the one. Absolutely. I mean, 6'4" is still not a midget at the one, but it's it's not exceptional.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we have seen a super. I mean, it really feels like the shift in basketball now is like you can maybe get, because of the Steph Curry types, there's one guy who's allowed to be 6 foot or under, maybe, but he's got to be Steph or Trae Young, and everybody else has to be 6'7". It feels like, like that's where basketball is going. It's like one short guy, maybe ideally one 7-footer who can shoot threes and block shots and get the fuck out of the way, and that's where basketball has gone. But yeah, definitely back in the day, a 6'4" point guard. Yeah, OKC is just doing whatever the fuck they got with like spare parts from a trade, but
yeah,
they're good too though. But the 6'4" point guard. So that was your game. You were you a shooter? Were you like? I feel like back then, if you were a 6'4" point guard, it was like you were bigger, so it was like defense and passing, and like Sam said, the J Kidd model. What kind of player were you?
Yeah, the J Kidd model. I was probably a better shooter though than J Kidd. Even still, yeah. But no, I could flat out defend, and I mean, even in high school, I averaged 19, 8, and 8 with a broken hand.
Whoa.
So yeah, I could always find who was open, and I try to keep everybody's hands hot. So that's funny because me and Sam were just laughing about that. That's what I was saying about Melo all along. As a guy who knew that the only way to a chip is you have to keep everybody warm. I never saw that dude have the ability or desire to do that.
Yeah. So under 5 minutes, he had to go after my guy. It didn't even take 5 minutes for him. John used to say to me,
You brought him up.
You know what? Before we were recording, I did say, because John used to kill me because he would, you know what John used to say to me? He'd say Melo is like a magnet in the middle of a
bowling ball
that brings everybody down with him. Yeah.
A bowling ball. I used to say if 4 of us grabbed the ends of a sheet, and you took a bowling ball and rolled it out in the middle, that's Carmelo, and LeBron James is like taking a fan and putting it underneath the sheet.
Yeah, yeah.
He makes the whole thing rise, and Melo makes it very much more difficult for everybody to hang on to the goddamn sheet. That's what he was.
How about Denver Melo?
That a long time ago. What's that?
How about Denver Melo?
Denver Melo to me was the same thing as Kobe after Shaq, and he was the same thing as early Jordan. He was the same thing as early LeBron. There's nothing wrong with being that when you first get to the league, but then you realize, oh, okay, I got the suits, I got the money, I got the cars. How do I get a win?
Right.
And that's when all of them realize I don't have to score 36, 37 a game. I got to figure out how to get these guys 12 to 18, and then I'll finish it out.
Well, I'm totally with you, but I don't think that's fair necessarily to Melo, because the difference is, I think with some of those examples, they had the complementary players. I mean, Kobe didn't change his game. They
You
got
don't
Pau
remember-
Gasol for fucking Marc Gasol, who was a fat 13-year-old at the time.
You don't remember some of those defensive units that Melo was playing with in Denver, with
Right, that's
Nene,
true.
with what was my man's name that came from the Nets?
Marcus Camby.
Marcus Camby. No, the even
Kmart.
better defender, Kmart, was
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Braun would have had some of those horses with him? Iverson, so it's like, and I think that
Chauncey
unfortunately,
Billups after that.
Chauncey Billups.
That was a
after
good
that.
team.
Yeah,
They made
that
the
was a
Western
good
Conference
team, for
Finals,
sure.
though.
But-
they almost
yeah.
took out the Lakers that year.
but they made the Western Conference Finals because Chauncey knows that you got to keep everybody warm.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? He was at his best when Chauncey was alongside him, and he never did understand that, and in my opinion, he never had the desire to either.
But I think you're right in that on the court, it's like that ethos on the court, if you pair with the right players, can turn into something magical. It can turn into a good team. But it was that like his overall view of like, get me the fuck out of here. I want to go to New York. I don't give a fuck what it takes to trade me. He made it impossible to surround him with the right players because everybody got traded for him.
Right, but here's where I completely disagree with you.
Okay.
When you step on the court with someone, a Paxson, some of these guys, I think that what you're not understanding is the reason that you know their names is you elevate them. So
Right.
you're not just going to magically pluck people and then it's perfectly going to fit. You got to make those guys that are okay better.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to make the
From your
guy-
franchise guy, you mean?
What's that?
From your franchise guy.
Yes.
Right.
So you're not going to pluck all the perfect pieces for him. He's got to take the pieces that land there, and you say, hey, man, that guy was okay last year, but he's looking close to an all-star this year because he's feeding off of Magic. He's feeding off of LeBron. He's feeding off of Jordan. You got to make those guys better. That's the only way that you got the right
Who are
pieces
guys
left.
like that, though? Who
What's
are
that?
guys like that? Who do you think guys like Melo are kind of overrated that you think really didn't make teammates better?
I don't think that I always said that I thought Melo was a modern day Dominique Wilkins.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? I thought that those guys were great scorers and they can sell some tickets, and to the untrained eye, hey, we're getting better. But the problem with Melo is you kept watching on paper every year when you looked at those players, you were like, oh, this is it. And then once they hit the court, all of those players that look good somehow just kept getting a little worse. They weren't much worse, but they were going down, not up.
How about then like Vince or T-Mac or Iverson? Where do you stand on guys like that?
To me, man, to be honest with you, I thought that T-Mac's career really tanked because of Grant Hill's suit. When you got all of the money down at the end of the bench in a goddamn suit, and it's tough to get pieces because he's injured and you just got your fingers crossed that this fucking guy gets out of that suit in the prime of your career, that's a death nail.
And Yao. I mean, Yao was fucking constantly hurt when he was playing with T-Mac.
But I didn't even think that T-Mac needed to leave Orlando if they could have got him some help. But all the money was down there on the end of the bench in Grant Hill's suit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who spends that type of money on a guy?
If Grant Hill was healthy, man, Grant Hill with T-Mac would have been
Grant Hill
stupid.
was healthy or gone.
Right. Yeah, traded for pieces.
If he was gone, it's all McGrady needed was a couple of horses to run with him. He was that good.
Yeah.
But he had all the money down there unhealthy.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to get pieces. He wasn't able to play with the guy. To me, he was put in a straitjacket. And he was still pretty good in that straitjacket.
Yeah, he was fucking great, for sure.
He was
For sure. A
unbelievable.
complete game.
Now, Allen Iverson, to me,
One
was
of my
just a
favorites.
flat-out overachiever. Do you know what I mean? I thought it's almost like if you take a rag and you squeeze it. If Allen Iverson squeezed that rag was dry. He got it all out of there.
100%.
That guy got everything that he could get out of what God gave him. I always said, if you could do a heart transplant and reach into Allen Iverson's chest, pull his heart out, and and put it into Vince Carter, wow.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Kobe said that. Kobe said, "We're all lucky. We're all lucky. Iverson's not 6'6". That's what he's quoted as saying that. Where it's like, is
Yeah.
the truth. I mean, he's my favorite player ever, but I agree that he's an overachiever. But in reality, I think, unfortunately, and it pains me to say that, I think some of the Melo stuff is true and it's not his fault. His fault is the physical limitations that he was a 6 foot scoring guard. I mean, there's only so much you can do with a guard like that doesn't have the kind of passing touch that other people do or the shooting range. And to Iverson's credit, that's not how the game was played back then, you know? So, and he's even gone and given a bunch of these young guys credit. He's one of the best vets in that he says that about Steph. He's like, yeah, my game was not that.
Says he's top 5.
Yeah.
He put Steph on his top 5 ever. Like, can you imagine, like, Iverson showing up and just giving you props? I remember when we were at the Big Three interviewing guys, and I saw Iverson walk in the room. I've never seen a room of people just go silent and just stare at a guy. Like, he has this presence about him, like he's the fucking president.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, again, and that goes to the point of, you know, when you're a ball player, all of your coaches ask truly one thing from you consistently: leave it all out there on the floor.
Yeah.
Iverson never came back into the locker room. If you cut Iverson's chest open and they did an autopsy and they were looking for the potential, they would be like, this guy's all out.
Yeah,
He's used it all up. There's no potential left in here. You know what I mean? Some guys, you know, like there's going to be guys that are permanently going to take a hit. You know, there was people and Vince Carter almost out of his own mouth said that he kind of shut it down in Toronto.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
he just didn't want to play there. It would be
But
nice
not
to
everyone
have.
can be Kevin Garnett. Not everyone can just be on a losing team and go 110 every night. You know, not everyone's going to be wired like the big ticket.
Yeah. Iverson was one of those people, man. So I think that the respect comes from that what you ask of an athlete, check.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah,
I mean, out there.
To win an MVP and take a game off of the Lakers, who were didn't lose another game that whole playoffs, that Lakers team. Yeah. The only time they lost a game was against Allen, 5'11" and a half guy is driving into the fucking paint where Shaq is, and they get a game off of. Yeah, I mean, he rules. And for that, I like those guys. I even like Isaiah Thomas, the modern Isaiah Thomas, that season where he finished top 5 in MVP voting, the Celtics. I mean, to me, those are the guys that I'm like, hell yeah, dude. A nice undersized guy. Doesn't make any sense. You have no business doing that, and he's still playing at that level.
Yeah.
He should have gotten paid, and the fact he got fucked a little bit.
Oh.
He got injured. He got injured putting it all on the line for Boston. There should be some insurance for that, man.
Yeah.
You cost yourself money.
You finish top 5 in the MVP, you should get $10 million. You should just get it, you know?
As in your contract. There should be some bonus. Some bonus.
Absolutely.
Clause.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but guys like that.
Boris Dio got a bonus for not getting fat. Remember, like we talked about that a couple episodes ago. They just paid him like $500K for like
if he stayed under 250. If he stayed under 250, he got $500K.
He had a fat clause.
I could use it. That would be nice. I could use a fat clause. Sam, don't give me any of the money this month if I weigh over 280.
you know who else I heard had that?
Who's that?
All of Prince's wives.
That's hysterical.
I heard that the women that were with Prince. I'm not even joking. I heard that he had a fat clause. Yeah.
That's the saddest image. You just see his wife on a scale, and he's on the phone with his accountant. He's like, "All right, make a wire transfer." She's good this month. You know?
Just a big purple fuzzy phone. He's like, imagine she goes over where he's like, "You disgust me," and just waves his hand. You know what's hilarious? It was Iverson's birthday yesterday. You know who has the same birthday? Prince. Prince and Iverson, same day, born same day. Isn't that fucking weird? I mean, not age, obviously, but
both tiny underachievers, man. Overachievers, I mean, not
tiny overachievers.
Over. Why did I say
overachievers?
Dude, how about John? Who's the best player you ever played against in college live?
Penny. Hands down.
Penny Hardaway?
Yeah. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And it's funny because there was a debate online one time, and people were going back and forth like, oh, Penny or Jason Kidd, and I was like, it's so sad how short people's memory is. Do you know what I mean? About how good this guy was. When Jordan left to play baseball, when he left the league, it looked like in The Last Dance that it really was about his father, not the gambling. All signs, everything pointed to he was really devastated over his father. But on his way out of the NBA, when they asked him who did he think had the goods, Michael Jordan's answer was Penny Hardaway.
Yep.
But there was nothing that guy couldn't do.
Wore his shoes. The only player he's ever worn his shoes. He's only ever worn another player's shoes once. It was Penny's shoes. It's weird.
People forgot they even had the shoe.
Yeah.
People forgot that he had the doll, Little Penny. He had the most selling jersey in the NBA, that number 1 jersey down in Orlando. People forgot about that.
Yeah. T-Mac didn't do him any favors either to get the number 1. It's like that shouldn't have been allowed.
T-Mac said he was his favorite player. T-Mac said that Penny was his Jordan, and then he just takes his number on that team. Like, that shouldn't be allowed. I was pissed when Marbury took Starks' number because I was like, Starks is number 3, man. Just give him a different number.
No, John, you're absolutely right, though, because I mean, I'm of the generation where it's like Penny was like, I remember him being really young, but I was really young and being like, yeah, Penny's fun. And that Penny and Shaq team was so cool. But my real formative basketball years, it's like T-Mac, that's the number 1 I know. Like Penny's like injury came at such a point where it was like, yeah, he was totally poised. The more I look back and the more research I've been doing, like he was poised to be the next Jordan for sure. And he was the most marketable one for sure.
Oh, easy.
And you want to talk about,
I think that he was more marketable than Jordan. Jordan, I mean, for a lot of people don't understand, man, or try to gloss over the fact that this guy Jordan has the personality of a box of cardboard. You know what I mean? Jordan has zero personality.
Yeah.
He's not funny. He's not, you know what I mean?
Right.
Jordan is just a guy that you're just in awe of, but he's not funny. He's not a good actor. He's not a good, you know what I mean? He's a boring human being.
He's not Barkley.
Totally boring.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
He couldn't be a commentator. You don't want to see him in a movie. You don't want to see him do anything other than play basketball. Yeah,
he just chokes Jeff Van Gundy for getting something wrong in the middle. He just punches his studio booth partners. He's like, you're right.
And then doesn't speak to him for the rest of the season.
Yeah. He goes silent for 12 minutes to prove a point on the air.
Penny and Grant Hill are the ultimate what ifs. I mean, those are the 2 guys in the 90s that I remember thinking, like, these are the next guys. Grant Hill was like 25-5-5, and he was just fucking dudes up. He didn't have a supporting cast in Detroit. Penny had Shaq, obviously. That team made the finals. They got swept by the Rockets, but like those were the 2 guys.
And with the Penny and Shaq situation, a lot of people forgot too that Chris Webber was drafted first, right? So they're booing Penny.
Yeah.
When Penny got picked, I think 3rd, people are booing. And I remember sitting there at the draft. Everybody calls me dumb, of course. Same as like when I would talk about Carmelo. Well, you don't know what you're talking about, right? I played a couple games here. And I was pretty competitive, even amongst superstars. But I remember saying, "Oh shit, Orlando's got the best front court player and the best backcourt player.
Right.
This is going to be interesting." And sure enough, those guys took off. But I remember, man, people forgot that, man. I remember a scouting report and the head assistant when you play college basketball is the one who gives the scouting report. So sometimes he would say, "Hey, this guy's going to 2 dribbles left, and then he's going to try to go over you. He's going to go 2 to the right, and then he's going to spin back, and then he's going to try to shoot this fadeaway." Penny Hardaway, I remember him and Steve Smith. He said, "This guy can go over you. He can go around you. He can post you up." He said, "There's no sense in trying to find his weaknesses because he doesn't have any, so we're going to move on." That's what he said.
Wow.
And then I remember our head coach chiming in, and he said, "And the some bitch might be an even better passer. This some bitch can see the win." Coach Haskins said that's some bitch.
Dude, he had like a little LeBron's game. He had a little bit of
Oh,
LeBron's game because
a little.
Oh, he was totally. I mean, that's a guy. He's a prototype for the kind of wing you want in today's game.
Oh,
Totally.
he was a tweaked up Scottie Pippen / LeBron. Like
yeah.
Penny Hardaway could not only beat you to the rack, but he could dunk on your center.
Yeah.
And there's some big guards who they will post you, but that's not where they're super comfortable. Penny was fully comfortable with his back to the basket, catching the ball down on the block.
Right.
He had footwork. He could go around you, scoop shots. It's an animal. People forgot. And in that argument on Facebook,
who else did
I
you
put
play
some
against?
clips up.
And and where? I'm sorry, John. Also for everyone listening. So you play where? What school did you play at?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
And then Colorado State, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And so you said you played Steve Smith too?
Yeah. And Steve Smith
Damn.
was a beast too. He wasn't Penny though. Penny had
No,
a lot more.
But he was like a 6'8" shooter, right? I mean, he was a big dude.
Beast. He was a beast. We played at State one time, and Steve is coming down in a zone, and I was redshirt. Hits a three, and he turns to Coach Haskins, and he says, "Coach, come out the zone." So he's backpedaling down the court, right? So, Coach Haskins doesn't say anything. He pulls the rebound down. He comes down on a break. They try to turn it, and the guy turns it right back to Steve. He just jumps up, shoots it all net. He turns to Coach Haskins. He says, "Coach, you got to come out that zone." And he starts backpedaling. Right? He starts backpedaling again. The next time,
disrespectful.
the ball comes off. They throw it out to Steve. We get back on the break. So there's two back on the break. Somebody stops at the top of the key. Somebody protects the paint. Steve comes down a 1-on-2, stops behind the three-point line, all net. He turns over to Coach Haskins and he says, "Coach, you got to come out that zone." And I remember Coach Haskins screaming the next time, "Man to man." And I remember he was sitting on the end of the bench like this. "Coach, you got to come out that zone. You got to come out that zone." Wow. Another one. And then he comes down on the break, a 1-on-2, and he stopped. He pulled up behind the three-point line. You got to come out that zone.
Wild. So disrespectful. Completely cucking the coach.
One of the best shooters of the 90s, I remember. I mean, he was like, wherever he went, Atlanta, Portland, he was just shooting the lights out, man. He was a great shooter.
Excellent shooter.
Yeah. And then
who else did you play
against
in
Colorado State?
I was going to say high school ball. Are you from – I'm sorry, John.
I'm from
New York?
Denver.
Oh, you're from Denver. Okay.
I'm originally from Denver, man. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, so wow. So then your Carmelo take at the time, you knew what you were saying to Sam.
I watched him when he came in.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, "Hey, man, this guy is really good," but I never saw him. You all players, man. You come in and you do what you do, but then you figure out. It's almost like you figure out, well, these are the tools that I've got, and then you maximize those.
Yeah.
Now, in the meantime, that doesn't mean that I'm winning, but you maximize what you got now. In the off season, you guys get me something that can take it up. And I never saw him making those adjustments, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't matter whether it was, whether he had those teams in Denver with Iverson or with Nene or those guys. I never saw him adjusting to what he had around him. He just went out and did the same thing every night, and that's not going to get it. And I never thought it was, and it.
But he did rise to the challenge. Like he did. I remember in the Western Conference Finals, he did. He went at Kobe. Like he was going at Kobe that series. But he didn't do it on a consistent
He had some
basis.
great games and he had some stinkers in that series, though. He had one incredible game, but he laid an egg. And I don't remember the beginning of the series. He had one horrible game, and the elimination game he played fucking great. But yeah,
I've never questioned Carmelo's heart. You know what I mean? I think that the guy was a tough guy, and I also think that he showed up to play. I'm just saying that I questioned more so a little bit his motive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I never felt like he was doing everything it took only to win. You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean,
You play with guys sometimes, man, and they could have 19 and you win the game and they're still not that happy because they didn't get 25.
right.
And I got the sense
Right.
after a while that Carmelo would rather have 45 in a loss than
Right.
20 in a win.
I think Chauncey Billups literally said something to that effect. He said that's what his own teammate said that about Melo.
Rather,
And yeah, for sure.
It was really about him, and I felt the same thing with the situation in him not wanting to go to Chicago. You know, I thought that him playing for Chicago, I thought would have been an
Perfect.
excellent place
Yeah.
for him to be,
Right.
with a coach on the sideline who was a defensive coach, knowing that you're not a defensive guy. Let me get into a defensive system. That'll help me get a chip.
Right.
Everybody else has got to play defense if
The
they're
problem,
out here.
And Melo
the
and
problem with
that
Chicago, though, is that they didn't have – he needed a better shooter than Derrick Rose was, because Derrick Rose was like an ISO player, kind of like Melo was. And I think Melo excelled when he played with someone like Billups or even Jason Kidd, who ended up being a pretty good shooter later in his career. I think you need that outside threat to spread the floor for Melo.
I don't know, because I think at the time Chicago was such a good defense, and Melo at the time was basically an offense in and of himself. So he's a complete – that their half-court offense
True.
is just Melo. And I think if you're keeping teams to like 90, you keep them to like 95, Melo can do, especially in the playoffs. I think that would have been a really – and people forget how close that team was. I mean –
That team was close.
Close. And if it wasn't for Rose, they were the number one seed when Rose blows his fucking knee out. So with Melo, who knows?
I thought if you just wanted to win, that was a great stop for him.
Yeah.
But instead, he wanted the billboards. He wanted the arena. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I used to question my question with him was his motive. And I stand by that. I have for a long time through a lot of people telling me I didn't know what I was talking about.
I think history has proven you right on that one, John.
History's proven me right. At least with three or four of my good friends who I know sports, I think that Sammy's got an unbelievable sports acumen, but he was wrong on Melo. I had this with Yanis and with James Madden. Same thing with LeBron 8 or 9 years ago. And actually, by the grace of God, that debate is on film.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, me and Mad Dog.
I was there, I think. I think I was with you. We were at that restaurant, right, John? And it was for AOL Sports?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I did one. I think I remember.
We got to dig that up.
We were together.
Yes. 2-point lead, me and him going at it. And I was saying way back then, this has got to be 7 years ago now, that this guy LeBron was underrated, and they kept saying, "Oh no, get out of here! He's not going to win a ring." This, that. Okay.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. All right. I don't know which guy y'all are watching, but the guy that I'm watching has got a unique set of skills.
So, who are some of your favorite guys in like this next generation of? Because it really feels like it's breaking down generationally, where it's like LeBron, Chris Paul are kind of the end of that guard of their guys, and then we have the whole KD, Steph, Harden, Russ generation. But now there's some young guys coming up under, Luka, Zion, Trae Young. Yeah, these really, I don't know, but who are some of your like in the league current faves, whichever generation you want to pull from?
I mean, Zion is a unique talent. If to be honest with you, if I had to empty the bank on the next 15 years, man, I don't know. Some of those younger guys don't all the way blow me away, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I don't see anybody who is like, who could do it other than Giannis, and I almost think that he's underrated.
I agree.
I think that they're underestimating the type of run that this guy could go on.
Right.
They caught up with him last year. I think he's got way better shooting around him. He's a better shooter now.
Yep.
And I think, unfortunately, that what people underestimate when you're looking for somebody who has the potential to make a run like that is people oftentimes take a snapshot of somebody and they say, well, Giannis can't shoot or whoever it is that you're talking about can't do this or can't do that.
Right.
But the person that you need to be looking at is the person with the habits, the people
Right.
that keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though you took a snapshot of them, the following day they're better because they're working so hard.
Right. There's something about that growth.
Yes.
That constant growth. Right. Pascal Siakam, he's the perfect example of that. I mean, that guy 3 years ago was at the end of the bench, and now he's become 80% of Kawhi, like 85% of Kawhi. It's crazy how Toronto's replaced Kawhi, and really it hasn't really affected them that much.
No. Or to the point that you just made, look at Kawhi.
Right. Yeah. You're right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
in my opinion, you're not necessarily looking for a guy you say, oh, he's got this, he's got this, he's got that. You should be looking at any guy that consistently gets better, not drastically better, but who are the guys that consistently get better? Yanis.
Absolutely. And the other thing about Yanis, the other reason I think he's underrated to the casual fan is they talk about and I understand that, yes, in the playoffs, his offense the Bucks offense can sort of slow down a little bit in the half court. That is a problem. That's something they have to fix. He doesn't have the mid-range game that is so valuable in the playoffs yet, but I think he's capable of it. But also, people don't talk about his defense enough. I mean, he's probably going to win Defense Player of the Year this year, realistically. And it's crazy to say that from somebody who does so much on the other end of the ball, but it's like he is the best player in the world on defense right now, and maybe definitely top 5 offensively in terms of who you want to build around. So, we got Sammy back. It looks like he went away there for a second.
Yeah. So I for me, man, oftentimes, and going back to, I hate to go back to him, but going back
no worries.
to what we were talking about with Melo. The reason
Just in time for Sam to be back. Sam,
Sam,
we talked about other stuff, but now that you're back, it's time for more Melo, for you to defend Melo again.
Good.
But so the point that we were making, Sammy, is I said that when I'm assessing, who do I think could be the marquee players for the next couple of years, I said that oftentimes what I'm looking at is how much a really, really good player is progressing, not so much who is the person with the best set of skills. So for example, back in the day, if you're watching Jordan leaving or LeBron coming in, or Kobe, because Kobe, I think, and Vince Carter were probably around in the same time period. If you ask me skill set, I don't know that I've seen anything like Vince Carter other than Jordan.
Yeah.
Vince, I mean, people forget that this guy could shoot, he could pass, he could defend, he could hop out of the gym, he could win dunk competitions.
Yes, best dunker of his generation.
Yeah, this guy had everything, but he just didn't have, we never saw where we were like, hey, this guy is unbelievably good. And then we saw him the following year and we were like, oh, he added to his game. Vince was just
Right.
They all come down, but he was like this. You know what I mean? Whereas Kobe just kept getting better. I still don't think that Kobe, skill-wise, was as good as Vince Carter. I think Vince Carter was a better passer than Kobe Bryant ever was. I think he was less selfish, but Kobe just kept tiny bit at a time getting better. Just like I watched LeBron do that, which is why I made the argument that this guy's going to be down the line, forget about it. I feel like people say, oh, Giannis can't shoot, but he just keeps getting better.
Right.
So rather than the snapshot of somebody like Zion, I would have to watch Zion for at least another season or two to see if this guy's invested in balling and getting contracts, or is he actually coming back next season with something else added to the arsenal?
Right. For sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Does that, maybe, but if not, then I would say, man, Giannis, we know that this guy keeps getting better.
Right.
He's doing the work.
Yeah.
And he's still so
Right.
young. I mean, he's under 25. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Stav is getting hard right now.
I
Stav just
understand.
wants to hear you
I'm
talk about
100%.
Giannis.
Yeah, my dig
I
is
mean,
100%
dude, you're right
hard.
Dude, but Giannis has like a much improved 3-point shot. You're right. Like
He's at
Giannis with a
30%
jump
this year,
shot
yeah.
is
His body,
the scariest player in the
getting
league.
better
If he can keep it up.
The mid-range, bro, if he can hit a mid-range when it's like hero ball, last minute of the fourth quarter, MJ, Kawhi, mid-range type shit, if he gets that, I mean, people talk about the three-pointer. The three-pointer is whatever. It's that when the offense is slowed down, that's what he fucking needs. Because right now, people just drop down
That
and wait for
Kawhi
him at the
shot.
rim. Or they do that wall.
I think just the opposite, because I think that for him, a mid-range game is going to be tougher to come by. But I think that if he could hit a three, meaning that you had to defend him all the way out there, meaning you can't back down all the way in the paint when he catches, that to me is more dangerous.
Right.
Because then you spread the floor, and then you got to defend the guy all the way out there, which no one can do. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's ever going to need a mid-range game, because I think by the time he gets that close to the basket, you know, once he gets a step on you, he only needs one more dribble, maybe.
I guess the argument for me, I mean, in an ideal world, yes. I mean, the three ball, obviously, you see what it does to an offense and how wide open it is. But I think what I'm getting at is that, like, it's really about crunch time where his shooting comes into play. And I think you've seen even like the best shooting teams of all time. I mean, Golden State, you've seen it. They've gone cold, and the Rockets have gone cold. I think what people talk about Giannis needing shooting for is not the regular season. It's not even the beginning of the playoffs. It's those tense Eastern Conference finals, fourth quarter. That's when people talk about him needing to be able to score in different ways. And I guess for me, that is the time when the Kobe, the Jordan, the hero ball stuff really is viable, because it becomes not the most efficient shot, which is what the Bucks are the best at. They're the best at figuring out the efficiency of an offense. It becomes, if I had to bet my fucking life on it, is this ball going in? And I guess to me, I think like what Jordan always used to do, what Kobe always used to do, what even we saw Kawhi do to the Bucks and to the Sixers, and not so much the Warriors. That series was kind of whatever.
Yes.
But I guess that's my argument in terms of why he needs to be able to score from, like, No,
that's exactly what I was trying to say, dude. Is Kawhi's mid-range game is the game changer. Kawhi, that's how Kawhi kind of shut Giannis down in the fourth quarter. Is those shots become unguardable, and with Giannis's length, I mean, he's got that KD length, but then he's built so much stronger.
Right,
I mean,
right.
He gets a jump shot, it's over. It's completely over.
Well, it's completely over. But only reason that I think that if he could shoot from the perimeter, it would make him also over, is because you no longer have the opportunity to just do that
wall. Right.
Because
right.
If you come all the way back here and this guy could even shoot at 36, 37, you're done.
Right.
Which means that now you got to come out on him. You no longer can do the wall defense. How do you stop him then?
Right. You're right. Because people have been very effective with that stopping him at the mid range. Philly and Toronto both were very good at that, and Philly basically built their whole team. Yeah. No, for sure. I guess for me, it's like
respect to someone like Rajon. How about Rajon Rondo, who never had even a hint of a jump shot, and he had this amazing career with Boston.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty damn cool. He just got that first step on you and hit weird ass layups all day. Got 10 assists.
Layups. Absolutely great passer.
Give Rondo some credit. He came in just the right time, and he's still in the NBA.
He's still with the Lakers. Rondo was a hell of a defender too.
Right. In his prime, he was incredible. I mean, that helps a lot.
Rondo was a hell of a defender, man. He was a tough motherfucker.
Yeah. But I think now he's getting a little too much.
I like
credit.
his beef with CP3. But who do you think?
Go ahead, Sam.
Who do you think, John? Who is your pick to go all the way when the league does come back? Who's your team?
I mean, to be honest with you, man, it's almost like someone took the tablecloth and just threw the whole damn table over. You know what I mean? Because if you ask me, so I'm there at the Cellar on Saturday the 15th, I think, the last night. And then the following Sunday, everything got shut down. Rudy comes down with the shit, and then once Gobert got it, there's a domino effect throughout the whole universe. The lights go off around the universe. But so if you ask me on the 15th, on that night, I thought that, and this is going back to what we're talking about getting better. I think that LeBron on a macro level has got better, like all the greats. Once you throw the clay on the table, LeBron figures out how to mold each little person around him to maximize them to the point where you have a guy where people are rooting for a guy like Dellavedova. You know what I mean? Like, why is he even here? You know what I mean? But LeBron figured out. But LeBron's figured out how to turn this guy into a guy that everyone's sitting there watching the TV like, I wonder how his game's going to be tonight. And that's what the greats do. You know what I mean? That's what the fucking greats do. But LeBron also has a micro level of thinking that I think makes him a savant, where inside of a game, LeBron makes adjustments to what a team is doing. So even at the beginning of the game where somebody's getting away with something, LeBron has made all those calculations. By the fourth quarter, he's shutting all that down. He knows what everybody's gonna try to do, what everyone inside of the fucking game, man. But with that being said, I just think now, man, so I think that's where LeBron was when we left the Cellar, when he had figured out the league, how to beat Milwaukee.
He just beat Milwaukee and the Clippers,
So inside of the season, he had figured out this is how you get this team, this is how you get this team, this is how you get this team. Now you throw that up in the air, he's got to figure it out again in a short period of time. That's asking a guy to do a lot to me.
And he's older. He's an older guy coming back without practice. I know he's probably got a hoop indoors. He's probably got the best conditioning money can buy still, but it's asking a lot of a guy. And I'll tell you, I just watched John Morant get interviewed, and originally he didn't have LeBron in his top 5 in the NBA. And he goes, I played him. He's fucking top 5. I think some guys started sleeping. Some guys started sleeping on LeBron because he's getting older, and some of these young guys, it's hip to say it's KD now. It's hip to say it's Yanis or Kawhi. Those guys, you know, after LeBron missed the playoffs, maybe he lost a little juice in their mind, but then you see him back and hungry. It is that Jordan thing. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing, man, you know, that I think that people forget, because LeBron, no matter where he is, everyone's going to get better. So there's an assumption that he's on a good team. You know, it's an assumption. These guys are good until he leaves.
Right.
You've never seen any player in the history of sport ever play on a team that has the best record in that league, and then he leaves and they go to the worst. LeBron played for Cleveland and they had the best record in the league the year of the decision. And then he leaves, they're the worst team in the NBA. You took Jordan off the Bulls. Did they become the worst team in the NBA?
No, sir. 50 wins.
I don't know how people define value. That's how I define value.
These Knicks beat him in 7, baby.
Yeah, you're right. LeBron really comes in and gentrifies a team. You know what I mean? He just comes in and he raises the property value. There's Whole Foods. He's raising the property value.
So it's all going up. It's all going up when he's there. And then when he leaves, it's hell in a handbasket.
People are like, you know what? I think Matthew Dellavedova, $25 million. I think he's worth that. That's what the Bucks did. After playing with LeBron, the Bucks gave Matthew Dellavedova a $30 million contract.
Raise the property value, baby.
Dellavedova should mail him $1 million check right now. Thank you so much,
dude.
LeBron.
How about J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson? He got everybody paid.
Yeah, Tristan.
LeBron took care of his own.
That's true.
Tristan got $80-something million. No one thought that was a good deal, even at the time. Even at the time, people were like, "This guy is 10-10."
He's better though. I do think he's not worth that money, but I do think he's a better player than we thought at the time. At the time, it was like, he got this fucking role player, like 80 million. But now it's like Tristan on the right team is such a good rebounder that he's the kind of offensive rebounder that still makes a difference.
Come on, dude.
I'm
But-
serious.
But check this out.
He would help Boston this year, something like that. Yeah, for sure. They don't have anybody. Their rebounding's bad.
But I'm just saying, if you take a guy off a team and they go to the worst, there's like I said,
Yeah.
you took Jordan off the Bulls. They didn't
Right.
go to the worst team, not even close.
Right.
They almost made the
He got
finals.
MVP
Right.
votes. Yep. Mhm.
Yes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So when you talk about a guy's value to a team, I've never seen one guy more valuable to a team ever
Yeah.
in the history of sport
Right.
than LeBron James. And like I said, he gets in there, and then people just assume, oh, this was a good team. Really? I mean, that's just nonsensical.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of players that you could
No
take.
disrespect to Mo Williams, but he's not an all-star. He's not an all-star without LeBron.
Right.
I think
Right.
a little disrespect to Mo Williams. Not a lot.
Oh,
but-
And I mean all of the greats, all of the people that
Right.
that we talk about in that pantheon, right? So let's break down the Celtics. You could take Bird off the Celtics. They don't go to the worst team. You could
Yeah.
take Magic off the Lakers. They wouldn't have went to the worst team in the NBA.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could take Duncan off of the Spurs. They wouldn't have went to the worst team in the NBA.
But with all due respect to what you're saying, John, with all due respect to what you're saying, those are all teams that won the championship. LeBron's team with the Cavs, they were just not good enough to win a championship. Those Celtics and Lakers teams won the ring.
Okay, well, let's talk about the team that he was on that won the ring. He almost won the ring without Kyrie and Kevin Love.
Yeah. He took 2 games off. What was about at the time
Almost.
had the fucking unanimous MVP, and was that the second year? I don't remember, but yeah, it was the second year. Never mind, but still the MVP. And
He's
yeah,
still right there.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Meaning, once again, he was keeping their hands hot. But when they were gone, I could pick that up.
Yeah, the Warriors hater take is that they don't deserve any of their championships because the first one is both Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt. The second one, they beat them. And then you bring in KD, and it's like, come on, you fucking can't. The Warriors haters take is LeBron deserves all 3 of those.
I think that he at least deserved the MVP
100%.
of the first one.
Yeah, I think he deserved MVP of the one where they got 5. I mean, that game 1 that JR fucked up.
Oh,
That was the best. That was about to be the best performance of anyone. Like, take what Iverson did to the Lakers times 1,000. What he was about to do if JR rebounds and hits a fucking floater. LeBron, he loses. Even if they lose in 5, that one game is the most heroic. I put this fucking trash team on my back. Win. No fucking. Kyrie's already been traded. I'm gonna be pissed about that for the rest of my life. Because I don't like the Warriors.
This trash bag on my back.
Yeah.
Well, dude, the closest the Knicks get to a ring is Amon Shumpert and J.R. Smith
Yeah.
getting lifted by LeBron. That's the closest we taste to a
Yeah.
ring. So I'm grateful to LeBron for giving some former Knicks some love. You know, I love it.
Yeah. It's an adjacent championship.
Yeah.
What do you so you
That's
think
a
the Lakers are going all the way?
adjacent.
Do you
You know what? I here's the thing, man, to be honest with you, I think that when you start shortening, anytime you shorten something, right? I think that advantage goes to whoever has the most pure natural score. And the reason I say that is if you're playing in the same building, a guy could get a hot hand, man, and run through some people. You know what I mean? Do you
James
remember,
Harden? Is that who you're talking about?
I'm not saying James Harden,
Yeah,
but I'm
who's
just
the best
saying,
pure scorer left? It's interesting to think about that.
you know what
It
I
is
mean?
James Harden,
It's
without
probably
question.
Harden, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Offensively, I think Giannis is the best. Maybe he's much better.
He's the
all-around
best
player, but
overall.
Harden
Yeah,
is-
yeah.
I just
but-
think that.
I mean, but LeBron's in the convo too, Stavi. You can't take that away. One game, you take Giannis over LeBron, it's close.
No, I definitely
no.
take LeBron.
I still right now,
Yeah.
even I would say I would take LeBron.
And the reason
You
I
got to
say
take LeBron.
the reason I say I would take LeBron over all of them is because of the Dallas series. Do you know what I mean? I think that was such an important lesson for him that he's never forgot it.
I like the spin. I like the spin on the biggest goose egg any superstars ever laid in a finals.
You know, after they lost to Dallas, the first game the following season was Cleveland they played the Clippers. And I'm watching the game in the middle of the night, and the game is tied
You mean
up.
Miami?
No, they played Miami goes and plays the Clippers in LA.
Yeah.
And the game is tied up. There's probably a minute and a half left. And they throw the ball into LeBron, and all of the Heat scatter. So LeBron comes down, and he gets bumped or something, but sideline out of bounds. They come in, they throw the ball to LeBron. He gets bumped again. And I remember thinking to myself, this is dumb. Like, you can't draw up something better than this. But then it dawned on me that they are showing him, you have to find a way to finish.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care if we lose this. It was clear as a bell.
Yeah.
We don't care if we lose. We are going to live and die with you figuring out how to win games. And he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did. But I could see at the beginning of that following season that over there on that sideline, they were like, all bets are off. You fucking finish the game, no matter what.
Right.
And I don't think.
But don't you think that the Clippers still pose a threat to the Lakers, John? I really think matchups wise, it could be tight. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going 7.
I think it could be a nightmare now. I believe that if the season had kept on going, I believe LA could have got them 5 games, 6 max.
Wow.
I believe
the Lakers take the Clippers in 6 or 5.
Yeah, I think that they would have beat them in 5 games, maybe 6.
I don't.
Only reason I say that is going back to the earlier argument about the calculations that LeBron had made. A lot of people forget the game that the Clippers had won prior to the Lakers won the last one. But in that second of the 3 games, the Lakers were up 15.
Yeah.
The Clippers clawed their way back into that and won it. LeBron in that third instance was like, that's not happening again.
Right.
He made the adjustments. So think about that. That means he couldn't figure out what to do with Anthony Davis in that first game. He just kept feeding him in the post. Too much, to the point that it cost them. But he kept going to Anthony Davis. He went to him a million times. By the middle of the season, he's like, I'm going to go to you.
Right.
And they're up 15, but they lose that one. But again, LeBron just keeps learning. He just keeps turning that goddamn combination until he figures out a way to pick your lock. I think in the 4th game, he would have been even better than he was in the 3rd game at beating them. He would have known more ways to get to them faster. He just keeps getting better.
He definitely. I mean, I think that's
you're
true.
right, but I think a problem is that the Clippers. Don't you think the Clippers' depth is a problem? I think, given the fatigue that players are coming back to, when you have guys like Marcus Morris, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, all off the bench.
Yeah.
They have so many weapons of guys who can just get you buckets from anywhere.
And guys that can guard
in
LeBron.
The fourth quarter.
Guys that can guard LeBron, they have the most guys. AD, though, it does give him a problem.
Kawhi,
AD is a matchup nightmare for them.
You're right. His length is going to be
4 guys to guard
His
LeBron
defense.
and nobody to guard AD.
But the Lakers don't have those tertiary, scorers the way the Clippers have some guys who can just shoot. I'm forgetting the name. Landry Shamet. They have all these guys off the bench who are just
they signed what's his face from who's on Detroit and the Thunder, the point guard who was friends with Paul George,
Reggie
who
Jackson,
gone to the Lakers. Yeah.
They've got a ton of them, but I'm just saying that it didn't show up against the Lakers during the season. For all of what we thought that the Clippers were going to be, that first game they looked good, and to me it was more the Lakers
They beat him
looked bad
twice.
because
To be fair,
what's that?
To be fair, though, they were ahead in the season series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I'm just saying that the gap kept closing to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And by that 3rd game, the Lakers had surpassed the Clippers, and I don't think that LeBron was going to let up on his knowledge of what he picked up from that 3rd game.
And the other thing that the Lakers are, what fucks the Lakers big time in this scenario is that if they play the Clippers, under normal circumstances in the Western Conference Finals. That's 7 home games. Like it's not. So a team like the Clippers this is a big win. This is a huge win for them. Somebody with no home court advantage playing in a neutral arena is huge for the Clippers. I think the Lakers are really penalized there.
But it also favors veterans, though, don't you think? That it favors
Vets.
guys like LeBron as well.
Sure, but also older guys to have a little. It's a little. I think LeBron is exempt. I think LeBron for the first time in his life.
I'll be honest. I think you're wrong that favors the Clippers.
Really, you don't think the Lakers would have had such an advantage with playing them in LA? I mean, the Clippers have no home court.
I think that it cancels out if they're playing in LA because they're both playing at home. Here's where I think the problem is.
Yeah, but there's more Laker fans, John.
Yeah, they have no fans.
Yeah, but whether there's fans, I think, okay, if you have fans, if you have more of the fans, I think, yeah, advantage Lakers. But I'm saying if you're on a neutral court, right, I just always think because now you're kind of both on the road, right? So there's never a game where you're both on the road as teams. But now we're in a situation where both of us are on the road. Anytime both of you guys are on the road, advantage defensive team, not the shooters. Because you want to be at home if you're a shooter. You don't want to be on the road. And the Lakers are very good defensively. So if the Clippers shooting is down a couple of points and the Lakers are really good defensively, do you know what I mean? I think it might be advantage Lakers. You want to be at home if you've got good shooters.
Well, but don't you think the Clippers can – the other thing with the Clippers is we never really saw them – they're the ultimate like flip the switch team. Even though they haven't won anything, they behave that way. So they can put out a defensive lineup that's the best in the fucking league. If they go Pat Bev, they go PG, Kawhi, I don't know, Marcus Morris, and then I mean center is again where they really are the most fucked. I don't know. Zubac again. That is their Achilles heel. But if they wanted to, they could put out an incredible defensive lineup with the 5 being their weakness. But a lot of big guys otherwise, like for their position, a lot of big wings and a lot of switching and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I know what you're saying in terms of the shooters and their defense, but I still think the Clippers have
they're scorers though.
They have guys that could just get a bucket, and in terms of Lou, that's where I think Sam's point about the depth comes in, because if one guy's cold, all right, Shamit's not hitting, fuck it, Lou's in, or Kawhi's in, or Paul George, or you can play the pick and roll with Trez, and it's just like they have a lot of things to go to. Yeah,
my man Mook.
Yeah. No, I'm with you,
dude. Here's something interesting. The Philadelphia 76ers, the best home team, they're fucking trash on the road. This will be interesting for them.
They're garbage on the road.
Yeah. That's the teams that really get hurt by this, I think, are just the 1 seeds the most, because it's like it takes away your advantage. So Milwaukee and the Lakers. But then Philly, because they're so bad on the road, and also the Jazz because they have a good home court, and also all this shit with Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, and then Bojan Bogdanovic is out for the year, and Ingles said he might not play
because
his kid is immunocompromised
with an immune disorder.
Yeah. Who?
Joe Ingles.
Joe Ingles.
That's right. Well, but to your point, the Clippers are also now probably would have had a lot of home court, and they're losing 2, the 1 and 2, your 1 and 2 seeds. I think the people that are going to hurt the most, I think, are the Lakers by losing that home court.
Yeah, for sure.
I still think that if you're playing the Clippers and but I totally agree with you. The Clippers come at you so many different ways, but with all of the weapons that they have, you would think that they would have fared better against the Lakers during the season. And that didn't pan out.
Yeah, I guess I feel like the Clippers still haven't showed us everything. That's I guess what it is with
I kind of want the Clippers to win. 1, because I think Mook will come back to the Knicks if they win. 2, because I think Kawhi Leonard, I think it's an incredible basketball story for Kawhi Leonard to just go to another team as a hired assassin and win. Yeah. Of course, it'd be awesome if LeBron won too, but I think it's kind of awesome. Like, think about the 30 for 30 on Kawhi. He took a whole year off. Then he went to the Raptors and just fucking won. Yeah. And then he
Yeah.
goes to the Clippers, and if he won there, that would be freaking hilarious.
It's a race for
3
those
rings,
two. It's a
3
race for
different
those
teams.
two to be the first guy to do it with 3 teams as the main guy.
I think it would be
Finals MVP on 3 different teams. That's never happened, right?
Yeah,
I
they're
think it
both
would
trying
be-
to do it.
Yeah, they're both trying to do it. I think it would be shitty though for Kawhi to. I just think that this guy, man, has got a fucking almost a pass, you know. And I understand, you know, because
I know it's coming.
no, all of the hype around LeBron, man, all the hype around LeBron that you, with that hype there's gonna be, you know, when you give a guy this much hype, there's gonna be this much backlash waiting in the wings should anything go wrong. So that's what he got against Dallas. Every time he doesn't win the championship, it's, oh, see, this guy sucks. And it's like, really? 8 out of 9 years or whatever number going to the finals, and you're still calling the guy garbage. And Kawhi's been able to, first of all, win one MVP just for LeBron not winning.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of those MVPs, he fucking owes half of it to LeBron or 60% of it to LeBron.
Yeah.
That's not even really his MVP. And then you go to a team that was very successful. People really grossly underestimate how good Toronto was before he got there. They
just couldn't beat LeBron. They couldn't get past LeBron.
Right.
They got swept,
LeBron's
dude.
gone
They got swept in 4 games, John.
by
Yeah, but-
LeBron.
Trading
Fair enough.
DeRozan
LeBron
for
was
Kawhi.
gone.
Dude, the craziest part is they got Kawhi and Danny Green. That throwing Danny Green into me, I couldn't believe that was part of the trade. Like
Me too.
they
That
turned
was huge.
DeRozan into Kawhi and Danny Green. Are you fucking kidding me?
But I mean, if we just examine this track record, right? So you got one because LeBron didn't go completely ballistic and win the finals. So that's where you get your first one.
And
The
also because the
second-
Spurs were such a complete team. I mean, that team, remember the year they won, the year Kawhi wins that MVP, they're shooting that game 1, they shoot like 60% from the field. They're unbelievable. So that's like you get one
Danny
for
Green was
LeBron
lights
not
out.
winning and
But
for
that's
being in an
also-
incredible system.
But I just
That's-
to
you
me,
know,
it's
But
just
also,
like
no one was picking the Spurs, dude. Everyone thought that the Heat were taking that. Everyone thought Duncan was too old. I mean, no one was picking
That
No one was
revenge
picking
season?
in Antonio.
I don't know.
I
don't know. I think
so.
it was-
I was shocked.
I
was shocked.
I wasn't shocked in the least. I just thought that Miami matched up with them terribly. So you know, those two, and then you get a not even hobbled, but you get a completely destroyed Golden State.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we have to pretend that this guy is on the same, you know, because they're both going for 3 on 2 different teams, and we have to pretend that they in any way,
love
shape,
this
or
take.
form
I love
have
this, John.
on the same. What are we
Yes.
having this conversation? A guy who got one on the back of holding this guy. The
Yep.
second one on playing against a team that was completely. Can you imagine if LeBron had beat Golden State and they were that crippled? Would anybody be
No.
cheering on that win? They would be like, "Oh, he.
Well,
what are you talking about? He ran over an old
Draymond
lady."
when they came back 3-1, Draymond was suspended, and Steph Curry
Oh,
couldn't hit a
come
fucking
on.
shot.
Well, he was
It's not
I'm
even the same
I'm playing
thing.
devil's advocate here.
It's not even close
I'm
to
playing
the
devil's
same
advocate
thing.
here.
Okay, but two knees get blown out. Like KD and fucking Clay.
An Achilles and
enough.
a
Yeah.
knee. And not only that, all I'm saying is the way that people would have responded to it, the way that we are like, oh, now Kawhi's the greatest thing on the planet after he wins a championship with a team that are all in wheelchairs. And then fucking, if LeBron would have done it, people would have been like, that was the shittiest championship ever.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
They
Doesn't
would
count.
said it
People
doesn't
say it
count.
doesn't
Why
count.
are we talking
Okay,
about
but in
this?
in
He played
defense of
against a
Kawhi,
senior citizen's home.
Yeah.
all right, but in defense of Kawhi, that run was incredible. The entire team took after his swag. The way he carried himself, he made Kyle Lowry, Siakam, he made everyone so much more confident. The shot he hit on Philly, the way he fucking dismantled Milwaukee. Kawhi was incredible, man.
Oh,
I mean,
well, how about this, though?
It was a hell of a run. All I'm saying is if LeBron had made that same run, they would have said he played against a Golden State team that was debilitated, that was the shittiest shittiest great of all time player win ever. They would have destroyed it. They would have said it would have been like playing Portland without Drexler. It would have been like playing fucking Phoenix without Barkley.
Also, who knows? Who knows? John makes a good point about how good Toronto was. And guess what? There's no fucking LeBron in the East anymore. So maybe that team without Kawhi, maybe they get to the fucking finals. You know, like that's even a possibility.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm just saying, dude.
And let me say this: I stay consistent in what I
They
consider.
barely beat Philly.
I love this though.
They went 7 with Philly. They don't get there without Kawhi.
I've been
poor
very
coaching.
consistent in what I consider value, right? In all of my arguments. So check this out. This guy goes to a team in Toronto that's pretty good. They remove the arch nemesis, LeBron, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's able to, and then he goes to California. How does Toronto look? Pretty fucking good.
Yes, that's true. That's a great point.
Same
I think they're the third. I think they're the third or the second seed in the East. Actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You take
Toronto looks good, although
and they
didn't trade him. He's gone. Just left.
But I also think you're underselling that Kawhi, he elevated everyone's game the way a great player. We talk about the bowling ball in the middle. He was the fan underneath.
Or are you giving him too much credit? We don't know that. He was there for a year.
I think
that culture was there. They had the best GM. They had the best coach. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's a beneficiary of two of the best cultures ever in terms of San Antonio
but when you win,
Toronto.
You walk differently. Fred VanVleet looks like a killer right now, and Fred VanVleet in interviews sounded like a tough dude, and I kind of love.
Toronto's had a history of player development. I love this. Is a great one. I'm stealing this take. This is I'm running with this. I'm taking everything John said is like.
I've been mad at John
reasonable.
ever since
I'm
the
taking
Carmelo
this
slander.
and then making it ridiculous.
No, John's takes are as good as anybody's. I mean, it hurts me, but I mean, he's killing me with Melo hate for years. And what can I do, man? Like, just let us be happy. Just let.
He was trying to warn
the Knicks
you,
just
man.
be good.
I know. I love this. I'm running with this.
The Lakers are the #1 seed in the West. Now, I know it's going to sound blasphemous. If you took LeBron off of that team.
You're right. It's not blasphemous. They're worse than the Pelicans were last year. They're a shittier version of last year's Pelicans without LeBron.
I don't know that they make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Is LeBron the MVP then, John, or is it Yanis?
He's always the most valuable guy on the team. Always the most valuable guy on the team. But I do think that right now Yanis is easily the future of the NBA, and he's 25, so I dare to say he could have a better career than LeBron. He could end up with more championships than LeBron because he's way closer right now.
Well, I'm getting goosebumps, by the way. You said that, and I got a chill down my spine.
He's a lot
so
closer
happy.
because you got to think about this. You got to think about this. Giannis is really legitimately only 2 championships away from doing something that would genuinely kind of restructure all of what we're watching. Think about this. If Giannis were able to win back-to-back championships in Milwaukee, LeBron is done. Yeah. Kawhi has got to go somewhere else. The Golden State Warriors are done. He would shuffle the whole deck. And now other people would have to go get help because he would end LeBron's career with 2 wins. Yep. He would end the Golden State aura of maybe they could get this thing back. That's toast. You can cook that goose. The Clippers, that 2-year deal that Kawhi's on, can't beat this guy in the East. We're done here.
Yes, Kawhi leaves again.
Shuffle the deck. I think that fucking Giannis is right there of breaking the back of the NBA, and LeBron knows it. If LeBron doesn't get this one, man, it only takes 1 loss in the finals for them to say, you know what, I'm headed to Golden State. That's what KD did. Yeah. You know what I mean? Look how fast Clyde Drexler got out of Portland.
Yeah.
I got a better idea. Say he doesn't win the next 2 years. He says, fuck it, I'm taking my talents to the Garden, New York City.
On, man.
I'm going to play alongside a budding star in RJ Barrett, a young LaMelo Ball.
I want to play for the one owner that hasn't come out in support of Black Lives Matter in the entire league. That's the kind of culture I want.
And wait a minute. On top of that, he's the biggest activist in the NBA.
Yeah.
LeBron is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one.
Dude, well, what if we talked about this. What if he doesn't win and he goes to Golden State and
No,
he ends
shut
up
the
playing?
fuck up.
I guess it can't happen now because they got
Giannis
Harrison
or
Barnes.
LeBron? Either
Or not
one.
Harrison Barnes. Not Harrison. Oh my God, LeBron and Golden State. No, I was
LeBron
talking
and Golden
about
State would be so funny. But no, if
Giannis, I
Giannis
was
goes to
talking
the
about
fucking
Giannis
Warriors,
with-
I am gonna be pissed.
But who's a better fit than Giannis with
There's no better
Steph
fit.
Curry and Klay Thompson?
There's no better fit
There's no
around
better
Giannis
fit.
except shooters. I understand that, but fuck that, dude. I would.
Well, they said that Giannis won't even work out with people in the summertime. So
He refused to work out with LeBron.
Yeah. I can't picture him doing the Kevin Durant thing because Kevin Durant I don't know that he's going to live that down until he wins a championship.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people, if anything, people saw what happened to Durant's legacy and are like, nah, fuck, I'm not going out the same way. And listen, Giannis is African and Greek. That is two of the most proud, stubborn types of people. They will, with Greek guys won't go to the fucking doctor. You know, they can have a pulsing giant tumor coming out of their neck. They're like, I'll be fine. I'll just
and
throw some
African
olive
guys
oil on
think
it.
they're better than everybody.
Okay, but what? All right, say Kevin Durant comes back healthy. Who's a better player next year, Giannis or Kevin Durant?
Giannis.
Overall, it's Giannis because
Giannis.
again, and me and John were talking about this when your line cut out, but people don't give him credit for how he's a better defensive player than he is an offensive player, and he's one of the best offensive players in the league. I mean, he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year, probably. I think he is. So when you talk about that, it's like it's
and
not
MVP,
even close.
He's going to win them both.
I think he's going to win
He
them both.
might win them
yeah.
both.
And then again, going back to what my gauge is for a great player is not the snapshot, but how much incrementally better is this guy getting than he was last season? So no matter where we see Giannis, he's not there. He'll be better next time we see him.
Right.
He's never the same guy. Every year he comes back, he's a teeny tiny bit better.
Yep.
And that's where I judge. That's where I'm always looking for. This guy's going to be the guy.
Yep.
Not the snapshot, but the guy that is a little better than he was yesterday. Giannis is always that. I don't know that we're going to see that in KD.
And Giannis is weirdly positioned too, where he's in between the generations, where it's like he is kind of younger than, KD, Steph, Russ, LeBron, but he's already in his prime while this next generation of stars comes up. Like he's so far ahead of the curve where it's like, you're right. If he wins now, he could be the NBA for the next 4 or 5 years. He really could.
He could have a long run until enough of their contracts come up where they could form a team to beat him.
Yeah.
But everybody would be making calculations as to beat him.
Yeah.
Because if he got these next two, what he's going to do is wash that old generation out of the league.
And by the way, Middleton, and the people aren't talking how great he's been this year. This is the best year he's ever had. He looks fucking incredible. If he can live up to that contract, that's actually the scariest thing for people that want Giannis to leave. If Middleton looks like a real bona fide number 2, which he has this year, that team, they're fucking incredible.
If they kept Brogdon over Bledsoe, that would have been
Bledsoe's
scary.
a problem for sure, especially in the playoffs. But what are you gonna do? Maybe they can make that draft pick. They've been so good that I've made my peace with that move. I would have liked them to keep Brogdon, but the other thing is maybe Brogdon's knees are fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew about his medical and he's been injured, so that's one thing. That's one possibility. But yeah. But the thing is, Bledsoe is a great defensive player. As much as he disappears in the playoffs because of fucking psychological shit, they're the best defensive team in the league, and so he's a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which will play well down in Orlando. The only thing that scares me about Milwaukee is Milwaukee, and I tried to explain that to people with Cleveland, which is why LeBron probably here on the tail end because he was only at 3 championships and wasn't sure where the rest of them were coming from. He had to run out of there again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And somebody was like, oh, who wouldn't want to play with LeBron? And I said, well, you got to picture yourself as a 20-year-old black guy from the hood, 22-year-old black guy from the hood, and somebody says, hey, come play in Cleveland. You got $10, $15 million in the bank. You know what I
Right.
mean? And a Rolodex of bitches from here to goddamn Amsterdam.
Yep.
Who wants to be in Cleveland?
Yes. The spread the pussy spreadsheet under the Cleveland tab is looking real light. I'll tell you that much.
Yo, man, as a guy, man, from Denver, like I said, I played high school ball and then went back to Colorado State. I remember when we were in the park, they have this thing called Juneteenth every summer.
Yeah.
So it's tens of thousands of black people in the park. And my brother's sitting next to me in the car and he said, man, I'm looking at all these good looking chicks in here. And he said, hey, bro, you fucked everybody. All of these hot chicks are walking by like, hey, John. My brother said, yo, man, a lot of good looking chicks in this park. He said, hey, bro, you fucked everybody. And I wasn't Terrell
Well, it's a Jimmy
Davis.
Butler thing, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't Terrell Davis.
Hey, Jimmy, do you want to re-sign in Philly? No, I'm going to go to Miami.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
You know what I mean? When you got that kind of money in your bank account, man, you want to be part LA, Miami. You got to send me somewhere where I can kick it. So like I said, the only downside of Milwaukee is Milwaukee. Sometimes it's tough. And they said that LeBron he called D Wade and he had called Bosh and told them to come to Cleveland. And then all of them were on the phone and they were like, why don't we just go to Miami? And everybody's like, yeah. Okay, I'll see. You know what? Hey, man, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We're packing. Baby.
Yeah.
That was a no-brainer, man. You know what I mean? You have to get into the mindset of these guys.
Yeah. Pat Riley's a visionary. He knew. He was like, I'm going to Miami. He's been right.
After leaving LA. Yeah.
And look, man, also I've had great times in Cleveland. I've had great times in Milwaukee, but if you give me the choice and the same amount of money, I'm going to Miami.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I think
the quality of life, the tax situation.
What Yanis needs to do is he has to hack every player's search history and find whoever's entering BBW the most. And that's the way he recruits. He's got to find the players that want some milk curd fed titties.
He's got to go through.
We need to find the NBA's chubby chasers and send them to Milwaukee with some brats.
He's on the phone with Kawhi. He's like, "Hey, man, I noticed that." He's like, "Models are fucking gross, right?"
Yeah.
And Kawhi's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, don't you hate stick thin women? He's like, I don't.
I noticed you were liking a lot of Ashley Graham's pictures.
I had a boy, man, out of college that played for Utah. Same thing.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, man, they're offering me a lot more money to play here. And I said, oh, really? That's dope, man. You know what I'm saying? Throw that in the bank. He was like, I don't care how much money they offer me. They can't pay me enough to stay here. Really.
Who was it, John?
That was just my boy named Walt. He didn't play in the league that long. Walt Bond. He didn't play in the league very long, but he was like, I'm not staying.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Under no circumstance.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting out of Dodge. And I was like, you know what I mean? You're a young dude. You wanna, you only get to live like that once.
For sure. And Barkley said that too. He was like, he was like, I have a great life, but it was awesome being Charles Barkley in the NBA. It was awesome being that guy. We'll do some good stuff, but like you have to really cherish it. And that's what he said. That's why it was like, I wasn't staying in a hotel room. I was doing whatever the fuck I wanted because it was the only time I was ever going to get to live like this. So you're right.
That's why they couldn't keep the team in Vancouver.
Right. Absolutely.
Vancouver's a great city, though. It's so weird. It's like Vancouver really is one of the best cities.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not, but for young black dudes, they was like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Get me the fuck out of here.
That's how you draft big country.
Yeah. Who got drafted there? Was it Steve Francis who was like about to cry when he got drafted? Yeah, I think it was. It was.
Yeah. It was.
They're doing the post game after he gets drafted. He's got fucking tears in his eyes.
Not because he's happy, because he's
no, he's pissed.
Because he's pissed. He's sitting there
Vancouver
crying.
Some weird picks.
Yeah,
because
I liked Vancouver though.
The 90s, the jerseys are great, but the year that
Yeah.
they drafted Sharif Abdur-Rahim, I mean, he was a great college player, but then you look at who else got drafted that year. It's maybe the best draft in history,
What draft was that? Was that the Kobe draft?
That was Kobe, Steve Nash, Marbury,
Mm.
Iverson, Ray Allen. I mean,
right,
that was
right. I didn't
that
realize
was
he was in.
Kerry
I didn't realize he
Kittles,
was in the
Marcus
same draft.
Camby.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, that was stacked.
yeah, that was great shit. Well, thanks, Sean. I mean, this has been fucking great, dude. This is so fun. Such a great
Always.
pass. I mean, I feel like we were just kind of getting going, and we've done almost an hour and a half. We got to have you back, man. It was awesome.
Always.
Please come
good
back,
being
Sean.
with you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
stealing the Kawhi. I'm stealing it, and I'm even being more unfair to Kawhi about. I'm taking your take, and I'm making it. Kawhi benefited from the Raptors, not the other way around.
Oh, man.
I love Kawhi though, dude. I really love him too much. Just that he's everything that like every response to the media is hilarious.
Yeah,
The fact that he's so quiet and
He's
he
the
gives
most
them
built-
nothing. He reminds me of Popovich.
it would be poetic if he won a championship in an empty gym. That's the most Kawhi shit of all time. It's like no media, no nothing, just like game. He calls game and then just leaves. He just gets in his car, goes back to his hotel room, gets one of those little pizzas and a fucking
show him the
Haagen-Dazs.
trophy.
Yeah,
They show him the trophy and he's just like shrugs. He's like, yeah, whatever.
yeah. But
No,
thank you,
he's
man.
good, but it is what it is, man. You gotta, he's not taking the heat, because if you put the shoe
Yeah.
on the other foot, and they would be letting LeBron have it for beating a Warriors team that was that down.
For sure. You have anything you want to plug, John? Any place people can find you? Anything?
Yo, man, He Was Funny, man. I got a viral post running over there. I got a bunch of, there's a war going on outside.
Of course, yeah.
So I've got a bunch of my friends talking about their experiences with the cops that apparently is helping tons of people. So
That's awesome.
It's going crazy.
Yeah.
on
Appreciate
my-
that, man.
You gotta
Everything-
come back and come back and talk about that on an episode, man, because your post was so moving the other day on Instagram, and you're a great follow. So definitely follow John on Instagram.
Yeah,
Thank
follow
you,
John
man.
at He Was Funny,
And
Instagram
tell 'em
and
that you-
Twitter.
Tell them that you saw me here, and I'll send you a free copy of a free link to my movie, One Bedroom.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hell
So
yeah.
go
Just
do that, guys.
DM me and tell me that you saw me here, and I'll send you a link to One Bedroom.
Love it. Thank you, John. Thanks so much for being on the show. Thank you for listening, guys. We will be back with a Patreon episode on Friday, and we'll resume from now on. And the NBA's back, so that's the one. The world. You're right. There's a war going on. The world is fucking in complete disarray. But a little silver lining is, maybe the apocalypse will be watching the NBA. So that's
Yes. I'll
it's
take
gonna
it.
be, and there's gonna be a ton of games. By the way, we didn't talk really about the things, but I've been researching it. In August, if you're an NBA junkie, it's gonna be fucking awesome. There's gonna be like fucking 4 or
pumped.
5 games a
I'm
day.
pumped.
I'm not doing shit. I'm taking August off. I'm re-quarantining myself in August and watching the NBA. So
I'm gonna have to tell Taylor, line up some chick flicks because we're about to watch some fucking hoops all
Yeah.
of August.
all right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See you guys.